Hey, what's up? It's Vinny Тен, Винни Тен Раciнгg once again. Obviously, last week, if you were watching along, you would have noticed that last week I did a whole lot of nothing in this shop. Last week the desk got me. Some weeks I'm in the shop, some weeks I'm in the desk. Well, in my haste, I said I was going to assemble those cylinder heads, the VQ, on Saturday. And if you notice, they're not here. And the reason why they're not here, and the valves are back out of one of them, is because I realized in my haste to try to get them done that I did not drill the half-inch holes that accompany that cylinder head and that engine job. So unfortunately, I had to disassemble the cylinder head, one of them anyway, and put it back in and bring it, not put it back in, but disassemble the cylinder head, clean everything up, and bring it back to the machine shop, which I did this morning, and they'll have those holes drilled by the end of the day. So unfortunately, sometimes, there's so much desk work to be done. I still run the circus, as I call it, and the phones were ringing off the hook, and I just needed to put my attention there, and it just negated me being able to be here for the full week. So not only did I not get my week's work done, the work that I did, I had to take apart because I forgot a very, very important step. I'm glad I actually caught it, because I would have hated to assemble both heads and put the studs in and go to put the head on, and the head holes obviously not being big enough to accept the half-inch stud. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say today. Hopefully at the end of the week, it'll be a different story. Let's see if the guys over on the other side of the shop were a little bit more productive than I was. All right, what's going on? All right, we got Lucas here, as usually the #1 guy as we walk through the shop. This car right here, Volkswagen GTI, Golf, whatever. Obviously, turbo car, came in here, no start, intermittent running. It does have a Haltech Elite 1500 in here. Not the issue. The issue is that it's losing power somewhere through the factory harness. And we are in charge of fixing that and finding that and figuring that out. And of course, Lucas, being the monster that he is, he'll figure it all out. So moving along today, Joey, who knocked out the purple car last week, jumped right on this car, which is, I can't say who it's for, but it's a gift for somebody. And this car, when I bought it, it needed head gaskets. So of course, those were the heads that were on my bench last week that I said in an earlier video that, these are single overhead cam heads. Again, I didn't want to say who they're for, but again, they're for this particular car who's going to go to somebody as a gift. It's just something I like doing, and from time to time, when I find a car that's priced right and I can do the work, I kind of look for who needs a car most in my sphere, and we just give them the car. And Joey's doing a tremendous job on this, and he's resurrecting the car, because it was really like every piece of hardware. The heads were the sludge. You could scoop the sludge literally in your hand that pulled out of the oil pan. So Joey's going a little above and beyond, and it's coming out pretty good. And it should be done, what do you think, Joey, by tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, tomorrow. So only a few days on this car, and then we have a great job, which I'm going to discuss with you guys in a minute. All right, the big build here with the monster Yarrick, almost all done. Wastegate finally in, hosing's done, turbo's in, intercooler piping's in, wiring harness is in, the wiring leads both for the fuel pump setup and the fan setup. We do things a little different here, and what we do is when we run dual fuel pumps or dual fans or anything dual, we'll go ahead and set up 2 power sources for it. The reason for that, in case one power source fails, you're not going to get stuck. Like for instance, we run 2 30-amp relays and 2 30-amp fuses on the fan setup, and in case one of them blows for whatever reason, you still have the other fan. Same principle with the fuel pump. So we always do this because we want a redundant backup system in case something goes wrong. You can never predict what's going to go wrong, but again, not to be an ass, but some of the fusible links, some of that stuff unfortunately is not made here in America, and sometimes it fails prematurely. So we've learned a lesson from that, and so what we do is we build a redundant system in there, so in case the fuel pump fuse blows, the other fuel pump will still work. In case one fan goes bad, the other fan will work. No, you're not going to be able to make a race or anything like that, but you will be able to get it back to the shop or get back home, and you'll be able to do that safely. I got some cool stuff. I wanted to show you guys a little outside of what's actually coming into the shop, so come with me. So we're going to talk about this car in 1 minute. We're going to talk about this car in 1 minute, but cars that are coming up this week, this car right here is going to get a full 6-speed CD009 swap. This car will be perfect when we're done. The guy was really smart. I like this guy. He knew what he needed. He didn't cheap out. He got everything that he needed. In fact, there's a spiral ball, or just a pillow ball if you want, that goes on the clutch fork, and they break from time to time. And I looked through all the stuff, and I said, I think you forgot one thing. And he says, what? And I said, that little ball. And he's like, nope, I got it. And he dug it out and he showed me. So the guy was really sharp. He knew what he needed. Whatever advice he got good advice. I think he bought these parts from the majority of parts he bought from Z1, which is nice. I know John, he's a good guy. He gives me a lousy discount, to be honest with you, but that's another story for another day. But he's a good guy, and he supplies a lot of Z customers with a lot of parts that show up here, so we always appreciate that, and we'll be talking about that car by the end of the week. This car I'm going to talk to you about because we got Joey's car that we finished last week, and this was a full conversion, and as you can see, it almost looks bone stock. You know, obviously he's got some great billet valve covers on here, but otherwise than that, this car runs, drives, starts. It's got the Hellcat Supercharger on. It's got a different pulley on it. The whole conversion has now been done. So if you're looking to get that done, call Hemi-Fast, and they will hook you up. All the parts, all the wiring, and all the tuning will be done by Hemi-Fast. They supplied us the wiring and the harnesses. It came out really, really good. So we're really excited. You want to start this thing, Joey? All right, fire it up. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right, Joey. And that car's not even fully tuned yet. So I said earlier in the video we're going to talk about this car. This is Steve's project. You know, Steve runs the motorsports end of our program here. He does all the wiring, all the tuning, you know, and all the diagnosing, which, you know, good and bad, right? So he can look like a hero when he produces all kinds of horsepower in your car, and he can look like a dud when he can't find a short. So it's a double-edged sword. Obviously, motorsports being super, super difficult. You know, just as a trade to be in. But this car, a good friend of ours, this is Kenny Edwards' car, and he owns a great company called KP Edwards, and they're a big concrete company. They supply a large portion of Long Island with concrete. Not one of those concrete guys, regular legit guy. All right, regular legit guy. But as you can see, this car is an autocross car, and Kenny's a little older than me, so you know he's kind of old. He is badass, okay? Kenny is badass. He is a badass personality. He built some badass stuff. He's super talented as a driver and as a fabricator. The guy can weld. He's an amazing individual, and on top of all of that, he's sincerely a nice guy. I mean, sincerely. And he was there for me when I was going through a rough spot. And not financially or anything like that, just needed somebody to know at that time that there was somebody else out there for me, and he was that person. I'll never forget that. So obviously a Ford, it's got an LS motor in it. Steve originally tuned this car and kind of wired it a little bit to get it running, and he did fantastic with it. It was running on HB tuners last year, which was the first year he did the LS swap. He had a great motor in here, 340 or 3 something like that. It was a great motor, made lots of horsepower. It just was not reliable. It just couldn't be reliable. And I don't think it's any of the builder's fault or anything like that. So we're not trying to throw anybody on the bus. I just think it was an old motor trying to do modern things, and it just never survived. Decided to go ahead, like a lot of people do, and put an LS in here. And so we went ahead and did that, and so far it's been fantastic. He has not DNQ'd. The car runs great. Now we're going to take it to the next level. Traction control, you know, throttle stops, all kinds of things that Steve knows how to do within the Haltech computer. Which Haltech series this is going to run, Steve?
This is a Rebel LS.
So this runs on a Rebel LS, and from what I understand, it's a plug and play system right into the GM harness. And
No, it's a whole new harness.
Oh, it's a whole new harness. Okay.
Yeah, the factory harness, factory computer, everything comes out. And it's going to control the whole engine. It's going to control the fuel pump. It's going to control everything.
Awesome.
So all the factory GMs, all factory stuff, get out of here. We don't need you anymore.
Right.
You know?
Okay, cool. So there you just heard it from Steve. Gonna pull the harness out of here. You know, one of the things about the Haltech Rebel LS is that truly it plugs and plays, and it's almost all set up for you. So the guys that are looking to do motor swaps, or the guys that are looking to, you know, put this motor into something else, or or just utilize this platform for racing, you could just plug in and start tuning and get the results that you want. Steve's obviously an incredible tuner, knows Haltech, HB tuners, at least three other softwares I can name off the top of my head, very fluently. And so this car is just going to be a great running car. I mean, it runs great now. It's really going to run well. And that's just some of the stuff that Steve does here. He does a lot more. Don't give him enough credit here, and he definitely doesn't get enough shine. But, you know, between the desk, the dyno, the wiring, you know, dealing with me, I mean, he's got his hands full. So, and anybody that knows me knows that to be actually true. So, let's see what's on the dyno. All right, I'm done being self-deprecating for now, and we'll see what's going on over here on the dyno. Hey, what's up? What's up, Steve? What's going on, buddy?
Doing the Soho Supercharged G37.
Okay, so this is rear-wheel drive, G37 stick car, Soho Motorsports Supercharger kit. We love working with Soho, whether it's the turbo kits, the supercharger kits. They put out a great product. Everything bolts in. It's very nice. Steve does an incredible job tuning these cars. I know most people wouldn't believe this, but I happen to really like this car. I think it works really well. I like the white wheels. I like the baby blue or light blue, whatever you want to call it. You know, the carbon's probably, you know, I like the old style carbon better than this new carbon, but still really nice. Supercharger kit, you could see we did not install the supercharger kit, so we don't want to take credit for something we didn't do. But whoever did it did a pretty nice job. It looks really good. Everything looks in place. Let's see what it can do. Let's see what kind of horsepower Steve got out of this Soho kit. Steve, fire in the hole, kid. All right, that is not bad at all. 550 horsepower, 413 foot-pounds of torque, only 12 pounds of boost. Really linear horsepower line and torque line. Boost line just keeps creeping. As you know, with a supercharger, it's all about RPM. The more you'll spin it, the more you'll make. Just another fantastic job. Again, really like the color of the car. I like the way this car looks. You know, Steve did a great job. Soho, dynamite kit. You know, this is a car, you know, if you see it driving down the road, you'll be like, oh, what a nice show car. But this is the kind of car making 550 horsepower will, without a doubt, knock you out.